You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written.
Welcome to the Fierce Entrepreneur Summit. I can't believe it's here again, Jill. It's seems like we just did it, but it was July. This is the October version of an amazing event that we want you all to understand right out of the gate what it's for. This is a place for you to come and be inspired, motivated, get ideas from. This is a group of amazing humans who are all doing business, and they're all entrepreneurs. And let me say out loud, they're all very fierce about what they do. So this quarter's theme is beliefs, branding, and reputation. We just want to give you all the information up front to let you know you're in the right place. You have come to the right spot. If you are thinking about being an entrepreneur, if you already are and you're trying to figure things out still, or even if you're a rock star like these peeps are, you're in the right place. So I am Kim White. I am the founder and fierce leader of the My Sexy Business team. I'm here with the beautiful Jill Olish, rocking the red tonight. You look beautiful, Jill. Jill is the founder of Mama Outspoken and the executive team leader of My Sexy Business. So I am very, very excited, Jill. How about you?
I am so excited. This is going to be a great summit. I can feel it because July was absolutely fantastic. We've done nothing but get just better at having conversations with each other at these. So it's going to be, I think, fire.
I love that. So it will be a round table as soon as we get to that part, y'all. But I want to say this. I am going to take a couple of minutes to introduce all of the amazing humans that are coming up tonight on this stage. And I also want to acknowledge 3 that couldn't be here tonight because of their belief and their commitment. So 2 of them are Donna Bender and Adam Rothenberg. Let me just say this for the record. It is a Jewish holiday tonight that they honored their beliefs. And so they chose well. I just want to say that. They chose well because they decided not to attend, but we do have some clips from an interview we pre-recorded so they could participate with us. And then our very own findability queen herself, Denise Millay, is actually, we've got to have her break up with this Milton guy. So maybe it's not a guy, but, you know, Hurricane Milton has impacted her so greatly that she has no power, so she's not going to be with us tonight. But we love all 3 of you. We want to say that out of the gate. And then I want to hit the play button, Jill, and start giving the intros. Like, let's get this party started.
I am ready for it. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's right out of the gate. I'm going to just go down the list. I'm going to hit, oh, look, the first one's Jill.
Here we go.
Jill Olish is the ambassador of moms, founder and leader of the Mama Outspoken Village, published author, podcast host, executive team leader of My Sexy Business, host of the Vision Board Party, associate producer, and GME roving reporter.
Here we go.
We hope you're loving the music tonight because we're going to love it. So the next up is Linda Bonney. Let's go.
Here we go.
Linda Bonney is a master storyteller, conversationalist, creative writer, podcast host and producer, published author, summit leader, and GME roving reporter.
Here we go.
I feel like we can just dance our way through the summit tonight, Jill. So next up is the Kat Corchado icon herself.
Here we go.
Kat Corchado is a proud military veteran, health and wellness professional, founder of Small Space Pilates, movement specialist for injury, illness, and cancer recovery, podcast host, published author, and GME roving reporter.
Here we go.
Oh my goodness, we're going to keep dancing our way through and introduce Yvonne.
Here we go.
Yvonne Marchese is the president of the Age Agitators Club, creator of the Aging Playfully Play Shop, podcast host, published author, branding photographer, summit leader, and GME roving reporter.
Here we go.
I'm going to keep dancing. So next up is the findability queen herself, Denise Millay.
Here we go.
Denise Millay is the findability queen, search marketing consultant, technology simplifier, host of the virtual scavenger hunt, published author, summit leader, and GME roving reporter.
Here we go.
Oh my goodness, let's keep dancing, Jill. So next up is Adam.
Here we go.
Adam Rothenberg is the interview king, media personality, creator of the Call Me Adam entertainment platform, published author, podcast host, red carpet correspondent, associate producer, and GME roving reporter.
Here we go.
And last but not least is Donna Bender.
Here we go.
Donna Bender is a master givologist, branding product strategist, corporate marketing trainer, published author, host of The Big Show and Tell, summit leader, and GME roving reporter.
Here we go.
Oh my goodness. We're so excited to welcome everyone to the summit. If you're joining us just now, we were sharing some videos just to introduce all these amazing humans. Again, we want to say we're going to miss Donna, Adam, and Denise tonight because of circumstances and beliefs. How's that?
I like it.
But we're going to dance and have a good time. And you're going to want to stick around for the halftime show because this whole crew has such amazing things that they have done. I am officially the Puppy and Pony Show, just gonna say, and I will be sharing a lot of like why I'm so proud of them. But let's get this party started, Jillo.
All righty. So let's pull everyone up then. I'm gonna bring you down first, Kim, all right? I tried. Didn't work. The layout didn't work, Kim.
Okay, hold please, because I'm going to remove myself and then we're going to fix the order because we want to do this in a certain order. I need to be on the bottom, y'all, because I'm holding up. I'm supporting. That's what I'm doing. So hold please. Okay, well, I will just stay right where I am. How's that? So
I'm gonna hold from the side. Well, let's go ahead and get this conversation started. And I have to say, I think I'm going to give a little bit of a background to Kim because we were trying to figure out what this theme was going to be. And we were wondering what could we follow messaging and marketing from last quarter with, and beliefs, branding, and reputation just bubbled up and we're like, well, I guess this is exactly what we need to do next, because the conversation just led that way last time. So I'm super excited to be talking today about these 3 things with all of you. And we had some warm up in the red carpet. So I think we're all ready to get our party started. So I think the first question is going to be, what do these 3 things have to even do with business? I don't know if that's where a good spot to start with, but what does beliefs, branding, and reputation have to do with our businesses as entrepreneurs?
I'll jump in. Beliefs, branding, and reputation. So I think belief is where it's all got to start. You have to believe that you have a solution to a problem for somebody that you want to help. And just, I mean, I think that's got to be behind any business, right? Whether it's mission driven or not, but and then what do they say about branding? Branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room, which is also your reputation, right? If you are not around and people are talking about you, that is your reputation speaking for you when you're not there. And we're people behind our business. So it's all just so tied up and bound up together, really.
I agree with Yvonne. I think you have to have all 3 of them, and it starts with your belief that trickles down into your branding, that trickles down into, I forgot what the other word is. I'm sorry. But I think they're all they're crucial, but your belief system has to be strong so that you know what you want when it comes to branding. And you want people who are your tribe to reach out to you. You don't want, I'm going to say it again, lottie-dottie and everybody. You have certain people that you want to be in your tribe. So I think they're all super important for business and entrepreneurs.
I think for me, the 3 go hand in hand. They can't be compartmentalized. And it's really important to think about how they all feed into each other and how they will evolve and change over time. So as you get into business, sometimes the temptation, and I have been there, done this, is to look at the branding logo or the color palette or the outside appearance of what you think the business is going to represent, and perhaps overlook some of the beliefs that you have and not understand their significance and their importance as to why you are doing business in the first place and why you believe that this is the road for you.
Yeah. They feel like building blocks to our businesses for me. It's just, when we establish our beliefs, that allows us to then make that come through our branding, which then builds our reputation. So it feels just like when we have those kind of figured out in a way, our business just has another solid foundation to keep going.
And I just want to say, Jill, I agree with Linda that they're crucial for business, that you can't just do one and not the other 2, because it could work. It probably won't. Just saying.
You're right. Because what happens if we don't figure out what our beliefs are and we just jump straight to branding? Does that really give us the representation that we want for what our business will be? And then does that then taint our reputation down the line until we figure out what our beliefs are? Can we really skip around and figure one out first before the other, or does it go in a specific order?
I think the belief system is huge. I think that's first. That's your why. And that's got to be strong so that when it comes to branding, that you know exactly what you're looking for in branding. You may not know how to do it. That was me, but you know what you're looking for.
Mm.
Yeah. I think too, it helps you when you have to make a decision about something in your business or your branding. If you're clear about your beliefs, if they're not just running, like we all have beliefs. And I think that the real challenge is actually being aware of them to begin with and noticing how they might creep in and be running the show when you're not expecting them to.
Ooh.
Whereas if you can really do a deep dive on, okay, what do what do I want to enhance in my branding that aligns with my beliefs? And what about these other beliefs that I have that may not serve me as well? It's am I making any sense at all? It's
You
I
are.
just
Yeah.
started puzzling through this for myself. We all have these operating systems, right? And when something might go wrong in the business, if you react without tapping into your core beliefs and values, then things could probably go a little haywire, which is then going to affect your reputation.
Mhm. I think I understand what you're saying, Yvonne, is that sometimes we have these, what are they, self-fulfilling prophecy, those things, like we start a business, but in the back of our mind, we're thinking, oh, I'm too old for this, or this isn't going to work. And you keep doing all the things, but if you don't believe that this is going to be something which comes from your why, then it's not going to work. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Kat, you say it
Ooh, I think I was
often.
going in a whole other direction, but you just blew my head off my shoulders
I'm
with that
sorry.
comment. No, and
Did I leave you at the station, Yvonne?
no, it was fantastic because that is true too. Because if you're not aware of your own limiting beliefs, that's like a whole other angle of what I was saying, is that yeah, we have limiting beliefs too about ourselves as business owners. And I've fallen prey to that. I have dropped the ball on things or left people on the corner, as our Kim Wright likes to say. I've done things and then brought people to a certain place and then been like, oh, okay, I don't know what to do anymore. And I'm just gonna, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. And all because of my own limiting beliefs about myself.
But again, I think that's when your why, when you go, like I have mine written down, and every time I think I just don't want to do this anymore, not really, but that's what I think. I read it and I go, yeah, okay, restart. I get it. So I think you should have your why written down somewhere. So when things get bad, and so you've had that bad day, no matter what you did, it just didn't work, that you can look at your why and go, okay, this is why I'm doing this. And tomorrow's another day.
So, Linda, why do beliefs matter for you? I haven't heard you talk about beliefs yet.
Why do beliefs matter for me? If we're thinking about beliefs, branding, and reputation, the beliefs are really much more a part of you and your identity. The branding can be probably changed a lot more effectively than some of those core beliefs that have been formed for years and years and years. So beliefs matter to me because they are part of the way that I look at the world, the filters that I may place, or the limiting beliefs that I may have can be driven from those beliefs. So I think if I brush over some of those beliefs or don't bring those beliefs into my branding and business, I'm not being true to myself, and therefore my writing isn't effective or as authentic and memorable. And if we are wanting to be successful in business, a lot of it is about the storytelling, and a lot of the storytelling is also about being relatable. The beliefs that we have are not only ours, we often share them with other people. The beliefs that we have are sometimes a common thread that people can relate to. The beliefs that we have may be unspoken by other people, and then when they hear them, are like, oh, I think that too, or oh, that's right, that was really important to me and I'd like to get back to it. So that's why beliefs are important to me in business.
I have a question for you guys. How important is it to you that your own authenticity, and how important is it to align your beliefs with your brand message for your business? Like, not theoretically, but boots on the ground kind of.
I think I understand your question.
Okay, so let me just say, for Late Bloomer Living, for talking about aging and aging, there's a lot of phrases that get floated around in the world about aging gracefully, aging well, different things like that. And there's a lot of ageism and stereotypes that go with aging. And my beliefs have really strongly been rooted in the idea of that it's not too late as we get older. And where that aligns with my branding, or where I try to align it with my branding, is in showing myself in the process of living that truth. So that's why I roller skate in videos, is to show myself learning something new, that it's not, that I'm doing something that is not comfortable for me. When I get on skates, I don't try to get on skates to show how great I am on skates. I'm actually trying to show what I'm trying to learn on those skates, if that makes sense. Do you see something comparable in what you're trying to do in your business, that where you're trying to do something in your branding and it relates directly to your beliefs? Does that help?
Absolutely. Thank you for that explanation, Yvonne. I think for me, the no perfection policy is huge, because I'm not perfect. And so, in my branding, showing modifications for things, or, as an entrepreneur, you're a person, so you mess up, the audio is not right for your video or something. I think just being authentic, of being who you are. I've tried being other people, just didn't work for me, I'm just going to say. So I had to become the freaking fabulous Cat Corchado, because that says a lot. And being that person is, I can be humorous, I can be silly, I can be all of these things that make up who I am. And I think you can't be in business and it not be a part of you. So if you can have a business and it's not part of you, then I'm not sure what that looks like. But, you have to be all in, or it's not going to work.
But that's easier said than done, though, right? We say we want to be all in. We say a lot of the upfront, what feels good, what looks good, what we are aiming to achieve, but putting ourselves all into business is scary. It is vulnerable. It is often messy. It is something sometimes that doesn't come necessarily naturally.
Well, I think we don't even realize that we are all in, Linda, until we started the business and realized, holy crap, what have I got myself into? And then you realize, oh, it's all, boots on the ground, all in, all hands on deck.
I want to talk about, so you said something, you both just said something that has triggered this for me. Kat, when you said I had to become the freaking fabulous Kat Corchado, it made me think about Beyonce. How when she goes on stage, she becomes Beyonce. There's like that she taps into something within her, but she is playing a part, let's say. She is acting as if she is the fabulous Beyonce, right? And so what part of us needs to step into a part of ourselves that is true that we are almost afraid of? Another example that I saw today was a video with where Zendaya, I hope I'm saying her name right. You guys know who Zendaya is, right? Beautiful young actress. She was in Dune, and she walks the red carpet like nobody. I mean, she's fabulous. But on the talk show that she was on, she's wearing a fabulous dress on the talk show. And she says it starts with her up and walking. And she's like, this is how I walk in real life. This is how I walk. And so she walks, and it's kind of schlumpy, and it's like a teenager walking, you know? And then she's like, and then this is my red carpet walk. And all of a sudden the chest goes up, the things go back, and she glides across the floor. You know what I mean? And she turns and all this stuff. And I wonder how much of what we need to do is act as if we are the thing that we want to become in order to best serve the people we want to serve.
That's a loaded question, Yvonne.
Yeah.
I think people identify brands by their logo, by their little sing song, their whatever that song is, right? That they have. Like you see the swoosh, you think Nike. But I think as an entrepreneur, people, I didn't want to come across as I know everything and, everything I do is always perfect. No, it's not. And I think in that imperfection, people see who you are, the silly, the funny, the humorous, the person who cares about certain things in life. And through that, I think, they're like, oh shit, okay, the freaking fabulous Kat. Okay, I know who she is. It's not bragging. It's more about you have to step into that and believe it. And for anyone listening, it's all Kim's fault. I'm just gonna say.
It's living proof, I think, is one of Kim's princess vocab words that encompasses all of this. And Yvonne, I definitely feel like I need to step into a role, especially having had picked Mama Outspoken as my name for business, that I need to continue practicing being outspoken. And it's resonating how we have to step into a role, but at what point do we stop having to step into the role and we just are that role all the time?
It's the acting as if until, there's the phrase fake it till you make it. Okay. And then there's something to it though. There's something to fake it till you make it. I can see Kim over there going, no, you don't do that. But it's almost just a different way of saying it, is to say, act as if you are that thing. When I named myself an age agitator, it gave me something to live into. It gave me something to tie myself to say, okay, when I talk about age, I'm going to agitate people's thinking. I'm going to be like the washing machine shaking out all the dirt, and it lets me be me in my best self, my best self, who isn't afraid to stick out her neck, to say uncomfortable things, and is going to say them even though it's scary, because it's what's going to serve people.
I think initially it's scary, Yvonne, when you first said, "Oh, I'm the age agitator," and you're like, "Oh, I'm not saying that." It feels weird, right? And every time Kim would make me say, freaking fabulous, I was like, why is she doing this? But then you get so comfortable saying it that you're just like, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, you are the age agitator.
Yes,
Yvonne.
you are. And I am going to just be uncomfortable and speak up about the fake it till you make it. If you're being fake, that just brings up imposter syndrome. It brings up all the things that you're fighting against already. I don't believe in fake it till you make it.
You're right. It's a language thing, and words are important. So you are absolutely right. Words are important. So, but if you can say act as if, I mean, speaking as a former theater actress, that is the key to finding truth in a role, is acting as if if I'm taking on the role, if I'm Yvonne playing Anne Sullivan in The Miracle Worker, I am going to imagine what it would be like for me to be in those circumstances. And when we can put ourselves in that magic what if, or magic as if, there's a lot of power there. And you're right. Fake is fake no matter what, right? And if you're telling yourself you're faking it, you're never going to get past that feeling of being fake or inauthentic.
So when you act as if, I want to push on you all for a second about this. Kat didn't become freaking fabulous. Kat was always freaking fabulous. You didn't become an age agitator. You were always an age agitator. That was already in you. So when you call out to those things, that's the acting as if. It's when you call out to that greatness that's already inside of you all. I tried to be quiet, y'all. I really did. But
I'm glad you're not being quiet.
Well, it's important.
And you're right. Kat has always been freaking fabulous, right?
Always.
I have another question, but I feel like Jill has something to say. No? Did I read that wrong?
Bring it on, Yvonne.
Because it came up before we went live with this. Linda said something about your beliefs can shift and change. Like, we're growing human beings, right? And so what you believed, some things I believed 10, 20 years ago, I don't believe anymore. Does that mean my values changed? No. That means that I looked at something and my opinions shifted, right? So how does that then affect your branding? Like when I started the podcast, I was very much looking at reinvention from the point of view of self-improvement and being a better version of myself. And how can I be better? And then after some time, I realized that no, as Kim said, you have always been freaking fabulous, Kat. We all are freaking fabulous. Everybody is. We just need to get back in touch with that fabulousness that's in us. So my point is that my my mission has shifted subtly. I'm still talking about reinvention because people get to a point in life where they feel stuck and you want change. You want to see change in your life. But it's not that you need to change yourself. It's just that you need to change how you think about yourself so that you can. So that has been, it's subtle, but for me inside, it's been a seismic shift.
I think in business, it's, those little incremental steps are the ones that are huge. And, it's just, being a podcast host, when I first started, they were talking about going to video and I was like, no, I'm never doing that. And I'm never doing this. And then it changes and you're like, oh, video, sure, let's do this. So I think you grow as an entrepreneur. And, you're like a toddler. You wouldn't put a toddler in 6th grade. You have to get there. And once you're there, I mean, there are a lot of things I wrote down that said I wanted to do that. And then I was like, no, I don't, not anymore. However, I do want to do this. And I think it's up-leveling your business.
It took a while for me to figure out my direction with Mama Outspoken. I had thought it would go one way when I first started it, but it did shift quite a bit when I figured out, one, how was I going to help people? And 2, when I wrote the book, because that really got me into figuring out more deeply of why am I doing this? So sometimes it's really just about figuring out your beliefs first to figure out, like, that's why I think, let me start that one over again. That's why I think you can't really do branding until you figure out your beliefs, because you will have that shift. But if you do change, because we all evolve, and as we go through business, like Kat, you said, leveling up, and we get clearer about what it is that we can do, sure, our branding is going to change because it's going to express our beliefs in a different way as they get clearer or deeper or more passionate, depending on how we are shifting in our lives too.
I love that you brought up how writing the book opened that up for you. I mean, everybody here has written a book at some point. Kat, yours is coming, right? But you've done the thought work, Kat. It's not out in the world yet, but it's coming. And you've done the thought work, and it shifts things. It makes you look at what you believe in order to write the book. And it was a sea change for me too, because it really tapped me into the playfulness thing. With Late Bloomer Living, it was like, no, aging playfully is, I think, the key to reinventing yourself, with a sense of playfulness and exploration. And that, I don't know that I would have come to that new understanding without having written a book. How did yours shift, Jill? How did you shift from what you thought you were going to do to where you're heading now?
I wanted to do all of the things. I think in the beginning, I wanted to have a course. I wanted to have a community. I wanted to do the podcast, and it was everything that I wanted, but I didn't know why or what problem I was going to solve until I got much clearer through the book on, let's start with one thing at a time and build up from there, because this is now the purpose. This is really, I had to really dig deep. Yes, I wanted to help moms. Okay, but what did I want to help moms do or be, or what exactly was it? So I had to really reveal more layers of myself in order to figure out what that shift would be. So it was really just slowing down to speed up.
I love that phrase. So what's the problem you're trying to solve now?
So I want other moms to be able to speak up also and share their stories, but in a safe way, safe place, and to also know that there are people doing that. I can advocate for them. They can advocate for themselves. I'm an ambassador of moms.
I love that.
Yeah.
What about you, Linda? How has it changed for you?
it's certainly become a lot clearer. That's a big part of the change. My beliefs have become stronger. But I think when we're diving into entrepreneurship and starting a business, even if our beliefs are a little bit wobbly or shaky, or we're not quite sure of where we're going or what we do believe, there's an obsessive nature that all of us on the screen have. We become obsessed with business. And I think what isn't obvious that is that obsession is like business is a vehicle for that obsession. We've always been obsessed sort of people that are maybe a little bit crazy. And I think you must be obsessed to start the entrepreneurship journey. Like to be an entrepreneur, you must be obsessed, because you have to keep going long enough to get traction. Like Jill was saying, she didn't know at the start until she started to write the book and become more outspoken and everything like that. At the start, Kat didn't know she was freaking fabulous. At the start, you were on a little bit of a different trajectory. At the start, Kat didn't even marry entrepreneur as a term or a word. You know, Kim's been through her own obsessions and journey a lot. So because business is intense, it is intense. You know, but at the same time, I think everyone should chase their obsession at least once in their lives, whether that's in entrepreneurship or in parenting or in all sorts of other streams that can take. But I mean, obviously us here, we're talking about entrepreneurship itself, because by starting a business, you basically get to build on your beliefs. You get to build on your branding. You get to create your own reputation. You are in control of your calendar, your mission, your beliefs and everything. And it's the same as sort of going to the gym every day. You know, you have to put in the reps. You have to show up consistently. You have to be obsessed. You have to be obsessed so much that you're prepared to keep failing and keep standing up and keep going forward and keep refining your beliefs and getting stronger in why you're doing this thing.
It's like you have to keep sticking your neck out over and over and over again, and just being like, okay, I'm sticking my neck out again today. Here it is, world.
And we can look a little bit of crazy obsessed at times.
Oh, absolutely, right? Oh my goodness.
But
yes,
it lets you chase your obsession. I think business is a great way to do that, and find out what your obsession means to you and what it is and what it looks like and how you get that rush of endorphins and dopamine and stab that next sticky note and kick the goals and keep growing as well.
and a silence falls over the room. My brain went in a bajillion different directions just then.
I just want to say that, you know, when you think, someone had said, I think it might have been Linda or you, Yvonne, about branding. And I think when you're first in business, you're not even thinking like an entrepreneur. I didn't know what I was like, you know, that little kid that goes to school with their mom. You don't know where the classroom is, you know, you don't know where anything is. But as Linda said, when I finally got married to the word entrepreneur, I started thinking more like an entrepreneur. So when I go to conferences, it's not about looking cute. Well, it is, but not really. But it's also about branding, right? You go in there and
Kat showed up. Kat and I just went to an event in New York City, and Kat showed up looking like a movement coach with her hoodie on that said "Body by Kat" on the front, And the back was, what was it? Small Space Pilates on the back? No, it was
It
something
says
else.
Body by Small Space Pilates.
Body by Small
Mhm.
Space Pilates. And so she showed up looking like, I'm a personal trainer. I'm a personal
Mhm.
trainer. I'm a movement specialist. You
Mhm.
know, that she
Mhm.
showed up representing, you know, it was fantastic. It was great. I wore polka dots because I feel like polka dots are fun. And I feel like that's the brand feeling that I want to have. I actually don't look good in my brand colors. So for me to show up in my brand colors is kind of, it's funny because I have there, I realized, I'm like, oh wow, I picked brand colors that are not flattering on me at all. So I'm not showing up in my brand colors, people. I'll show up in blue, but it's going to be a royal blue instead of, you know, the sky blue that's in my logo, that's in my podcast artwork and all that, right? But I have to bring something fun to the game. You know, it comes down to the necklace I'm wearing tonight is like a little button necklace that makes me happy and feels mirthful to me. And so that is my little thing. And it's almost like an energy thing, you know, of showing up and trying to be true to everything that I talk about is, and then trying to walk the walk, you know?
Mhm.
I think you're talking about branding, like you said it, Kat. I wasn't thinking about branding when I was first a business person. I started off as a photographer. I didn't I I I didn't have any photos of myself. I didn't go get branding photos of myself. I didn't even think about branding because I was doing family photography and headshots very specifically. But when I started to do branding photography for other entrepreneurs, that's when I started to learn about branding and what it even was. And that's when I realized, oh, as a photographer, I'm not doing any personal branding. I'm not even doing that for myself. And but then when I started the podcast, I had it in mind already. Okay, I need to have a brand. What is it? And and tied in very quickly to this little girl with the flower coming out of her head, you know? And that is like, she's like my little guiding totem, you
You need
know?
a hat like that. You do. Or you could wear your brand colors like in an accessory, like shoes or a belt or something. But I think a little hat like that would be so cute.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
A lot of what we're talking about reminds me of what Donna actually said in her interview for tonight, because we wanted to include Donna, Denise, and Adam. So I wanted to play her clip real quick because I think it wraps up kind of what we're all talking about beliefs and then going into branding also.
First of all, you have to believe in something. You have to be passionate about something. And if you want to get your message out there, then you need to take those beliefs and those passions, and and you can create a business around it with research or collaboration with someone who does something similar. I mean, there's many ways that you can grow a business, and the whole thing about the brand and creating a brand is, I always say, branding is the promise you're going to make. I promise that I am going to help people learn the benefits of giving and how that showing your appreciation can build upon relationships and increase business.
I love the way Donna speaks about this. She's so crystal clear about what she's doing and what her mission is.
She gets it. She definitely gets it.
She totally gets it.
So I have a question for the panel. What happens when you don't align with your branding?
Do you change it? Or do you stick with it?
I don't know. I think if you either have to change it, well, I think you have to believe in it. If you're not in alignment, I knew that whatever I did, a website or whatever, it had to be purple. It had to be. If someone tried to sell me, oh, here's pink. No, nothing wrong with pink. Purple's my jam. It's got to be purple. And to align, I look at my website, I'm like, yes, I love it. So I think that if you don't align with your branding, that you're not really going to make the strides that you need to or want to. If you don't align with your branding, you probably don't even care. You know what I mean? But when you align with your branding, which, like I do, then it's something it's always right here. Where am I going? Am I wearing a brand color? What am I doing? If I'm doing socials, is it a brand color? So I'm trying, y'all. I'm just saying.
I feel very aligned with my branding. So I don't know, but here's an alternative twist on that question is if you find somebody to collaborate with or partner with, are you in alignment with them? And how do you identify whether or not the person that you're going to work with, or if you're going to take on a brand partnership or have a sponsor for your podcast or for your business, how do you know whether or not that's in alignment with your brand?
Wow, Yvonne, where are you coming up with all these questions? Good grief. You're making my head hurt. I'm like, wow, okay.
Well, here's an example. Like there was a company that approached me to do a sponsorship for the podcast, which as a podcaster, you're like, yay, right? I could get a sponsor. And sometimes you could lose your head when that happens, right? And they sent me samples. I won't name it, but in the end, I realized that there was something that was out of alignment between what they were and what I believe for myself. And it wasn't even an issue that I put out in the world through the work that I'm doing with Late Bloomer Living. It's a core inside Yvonne belief. And I was like, oh, you know what? If I have a sponsorship deal with them, I am going to feel like I sold out a little piece of myself. And I can't do that. I have to say no. I have to step away from this because it's not okay. And it doesn't have anything to do with the branding for Late Bloomer Living. It has to do with me and feeling true to myself. And if I'm going to continue to show up as my true self, then it has to be everything.
Adam actually answered a question very similar to this in his interview. And he had the question, what is a deal breaker for doing business with someone when it comes to beliefs and branding? So I just want to play his answer real quick. And if I can find it, of course.
A deal breaker for me would be if somebody was a proponent or an advocate for violence against another person or prejudice against another person or group of people. Those are my two big qualifiers.
I think I kind of agree with Yvonne that it's kind of a gut thing. Like You know, all the bells and whistles sound good, but in your gut, something doesn't feel right. And if it doesn't feel right, you know, I kind of sit it aside for a minute. And if I go back to it and it still doesn't feel right, then I can't do it. Linda, I know you have something to say about this.
Can't hear you, Linda.
Is that better?
Yes.
Have you got me back? Yes.
We got
I'm
you.
sorry.
We got you, Linda.
Okay. There's a little bit of a lag for some reason, so I'm not sure if that's at my end. So it's interesting that Yvonne asked the question about collaboration, because both Yvonne and Kat collaborate together, and both Jill and I collaborate together, and then Princess Kim is collaborating with all of us at the same time. So we do have that first-hand experience, I guess, of going with our gut and asking good questions at the forefront, and then having the wisdom and experience of Kim behind us as well in having a breakup plan and having a regular check-in of how's it all going, and are we on track, and is there anything we can improve, and is this still a good fit for us, is this still a good fit for you, and really making sure that we are collaborating and working together effectively, not only in our beliefs but also as part of our brand, as part of our reputation, as part of all of the bits of business as well. Jill, did you want to speak to your experience of that, being that we've collaborated now for over a year on a podcast of you?
I don't even, I think the alignment is super important for two people to come together in that. And I think also having someone on the outside that has a different perspective on relationships, also allowing you to go to them and be like, hey, you've met this person before, if you don't have a Princess Kim White in your corner, and be like, what are your thoughts? Like, do you see something? Because, you know, I might be feeling a certain way about it. Like, I think it's a good idea, or I don't think it's a good idea. But if you're in this kind of corner, you're just told, you know, you two fit together. So I do think we can get more experienced with trusting our gut in those instances for alignment, by experiencing some things that we might need to have a deal breaker for. Say, you know, we're not going to align ourselves with somebody that stands for this belief, and we're going to make sure we seek out others that believe similarly to me, myself, and what I stand for in my business. Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. Oh, Kim.
I was going to say, can you hold it till after the halftime show, Yvonne, and not forget it? And I do want to, like, add this tiny little bit of, I guess, spicy as we go to the halftime show. And that is, if excitement is what is driving you to collaborate with someone, you got to be really careful, because excitement is loud, and actually your gut feeling can be quiet. Follow the gut, not the excitement, because sometimes those exciting connections and collaborations and things actually end up being catastrophes. So you really do have to follow your gut. And the reason that I have a list of who I will and won't collaborate with is because of all of the catastrophes. So think about that for a second. It's not that any of us are so smart on this stage right now. It's that we've all learned things. We've all had that, you know, that train wreck of a collaboration, or we've had a train wreck of something in our business, that we are able to say what we're able to say tonight. So we don't want to come off as we know everything. And I think that this crew has made that very clear. But I also want to just remind everybody watching to take some of the learnings that we've had, you know, shorten your learning curve by what is going on in this conversation. So I do want to go really quickly to the halftime show because I don't want to miss out on this part. I'm very excited about it, y'all. And I just want to say that we're headed into the halftime show. So get your shades ready because it's going to be bright and fun. So we're going to clear the stage for a minute. Jill, if you'll handle that, ladies, we'll bring you back up in just a minute because right now we've got some partying to do, I'm going to call it. Now, if we can just push the right button to get the right video to play, we'll be great.
Definitely. You should have told me about the shades. I don't know why I didn't remember this part.
They're shining so bright. We had to have shades.
All right, so halftime show it is.
exciting. I have to say, in an age where so much artificial stuff is being put out there, like we're counting on robots and all the things to be smart for us. I think this group makes me believe more and more in humans because of the authenticity, the genuineness, and I can't brag enough. I just have to say there's not one human on this stage that has not rocked what they're doing for their business. Jill, that includes you. You have absolutely gotten clear, and I have gotten front row seat, let me call it that, to get to see all the clarity that has come for you and the speed that's happening because of it. And I am so proud of everyone who is here. I want to show really quickly how you watching can connect with all these beautiful humans. If I do this right, we won't get kicked off the stage. If I don't push the right button, Jill, I might kick us off the stage. So,
Oh, good. I got you.
buckle up, everybody. Let me see if I can get it to pull up. Okay. So if you go to mysexybusiness.com/little FES, not big FES, but little FES, you're going to find these amazing speaker sheets and all the things that they're giving away during the Fierce Entrepreneur Summit. It gives you all of their information, how to connect with them. So I am just going to say out loud one more time, mysexybusiness.com/little FES. So make sure you go and connect with every last one of them because I am telling you, y'all don't want to miss out on the goodness that these humans have to offer. So I am the puppy and pony show, and I'm good with that because when you believe in someone and you believe in what they're doing, it's very easy to show up and talk about them. So each one of them brings something to the table that y'all don't want to miss out on. That's what I'm going to say. Got anything to add to that, Chilo?
Nope. Just that I know I'm not the only one that you've watched get clarity in this group. So there's a lot of us.
No. And I guess just for the record, I am the pushy one. I am the instigator a lot of times, but I just want to call out too. I'm right about you humans. I'm right. I'm just saying. Back to the regularly scheduled programming. How's that? And Yvonne,
right.
I hope you've got your questions still ready.
All right, I'm going to pull everyone up. Which layout was it though, Kim? There it is. There we go.
And I'm still in the spot.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So Yvonne, you want to start us off with your question?
Sure. Has there ever been a time when your beliefs clashed with what's considered marketable or trendy about doing business, about marketing, and so on? Does that make sense, or do you guys need more from me on that?
Kat seems to have an answer ready to go, it feels like.
Oh, do I? I'm sorry. I was just nodding my head. I think, when I see things on social media and there are things that I see and I'm like, I would never do that, for my business. And I think that, if it's not part of your belief system, then you automatically just scroll right past it. But when it is your belief system, then you kind of align with it. You start to go, oh, what is this? And you stay a little bit longer and you find these people that, are similar to you and you start to follow them a little bit. So I think that I have come across things where I just knew that it sounded great, but I didn't want to do it because it went against, I've left jobs because of that. They wanted me to do one thing and I said, no, I can't. I've lost friends because of it. So it's a belief system that is so ingrained in you that it's either a hard pass or it's absolutely yes. Like there's no, well, I don't know, maybe. No, it's either a hard pass or it's a yes.
Interesting. Because you know what used to be a hard pass for me? Doing reels.
And now look at you.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a reason I started a podcast, an audio only podcast. I didn't want to be on camera. I did not want to be on camera. And then, I was hanging out with other podcasters in Clubhouse, and somebody was very into the whole idea of doing reels. And I was like, well, good for them. I'm not doing that. And I don't know what happened, but one Friday afternoon, the gates of possibility opened up within me or something. It was very random. And I decided to do a random lip syncing, singing reel. It wasn't really me singing. I put a filter on myself. I was singing to The Cure. I had pink hair and a nose ring. So it didn't even look like me. So it was like I look back on that now and I'm like, oh, I was totally hiding in plain sight, right? And you know what? It was so much fun. And it was not on brand for me in the sense that I wasn't talking about reinvention, although I reinvented myself right there. So maybe I was. But it was kind of like going back to a song from the 80s. And so I was like, well, I mean, in a way that I could tie it in, and I played around with that for a while. I did lip syncing videos to songs, sometimes with filters and then less. And then I started to think, well, this is fun and I'm having a good time with it. And they were getting a lot of views. So it's kind of like crack, you're like, oh, this gets attention, but is it drawing the right kind of attention? So there's that. And then I started to think, well, this is good for the ego because you get that. But is it driving my business forward? Am I serving anybody other than myself with doing reels in this way? And so then I started to think about, but what it did was open up for me the possibility of getting on camera. So that's good. But then I had to rethink how I was doing it and why and how I could bring it back around to get back on point. So that's just an example for me. I mean, remember all the dancing and pointing that went on Instagram for a while there? There's a whole lot of that, You
don't see that too much anymore.
No. And that's the problem with hopping on trends is if you're doing something trendy, you're not doing you.
Now, Yvonne, your question was like, do we shy away from doing marketing things that may or may not align with our branding?
Well, I guess have you ever done something that hasn't been in alignment? Or has there ever been a time where what is true for you doesn't match up to maybe what you think the market wants? Here's another example for me. This is something I struggle with, is finding the right language to reach people with my message about ageist stereotypes without propagating more ageist stereotypes. Like, how do I meet people where they're at? So should I use the term senior moment? I'm having a senior moment. Or should I use humor in the things that I do. I try to do edutainment in a way, like I'm trying to be fun. I'm trying to talk about something that is not fun and do it in a fun way, right? But so I see there's a lot of influencers that are out there talking about midlife, talking about aging, and they're all and they talk about how much it sucks, or they're very much like, hey, Gen X, this. And I believe with the work over the time that I've been doing the work I've been doing, that talking about people in generations actually divides us and solidifies stereotypical ideas about a group of people based on a time frame in which they were born. And yet, that's also the key to getting onto the screen of somebody who thinks like that right now, so I can challenge that thinking. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
what language do I use? How do I like, do I follow trends, or do I use that language, or do I try some other way of getting to people?
I think I get that with my niche also. And, not everyone wants to talk about the ugly side of motherhood as much as they want to talk about the glamour side. And along with that, our conversations between Linda and I with the self-care podcast, debunking a lot of self-care myths and talking about what everyone else assumes it should be and stuff. So I don't think there's rules as to how we go about talking about what we believe in and our passions and standing up for those things. I also have Adam's answer for this question too, because he was asked how does standing for entertainment go along with beliefs, branding, and reputation? And I think his answer fits in really well, Yvonne, with what you were just saying. So I want to make sure we include him too. I'm going to play his answer real quick.
I feel that everything I put out into the universe has an entertainment value to it. Whether you'll learn something and it's fun at the same time, or you'll be able to forget your worries, forget your troubles, because what I'm putting out there is just fun. If there is a serious matter that maybe I feel like needs to be talked about, I will find a way to incorporate that into an interview or a social media posting surrounding something in regards to entertainment or the entertainment industry. So I believe my statement that I stand for entertainment plays into all three of those factors.
Love it.
Can I disrupt for a minute, please? Because one of the things that I feel like is so evident with Jill about her beliefs and what she has come to know about what her business is, there's an announcement that she didn't make it at halftime, and I'm going to force the issue because, that's who I am. But I'm going to force the issue because Mama Outspoken is going to have to be outspoken about this. This is a big deal. And we've watched Jill grow, like, in so many ways where, no, I'm not going to podcast. No, I'm not going to do any of those things. Now she's on like 4 podcasts and like she does all these things. And so I want you, Jill Olish, to be very outspoken. And I want you to share the announcement of what is like happening, because I think it's a big deal.
Well, I thought these things were happening at a different time in this show. So but today, Mama Outspoken podcast went live with season 2. So now I've convinced my husband to come back and talk with me about my book and his parts as well, so we can start to open a space for, like what I was saying before, with sharing our story, getting deeper into the behind the scenes of what was written, as well as allowing other moms to come onto the platform and discuss similarities and what other things are happening.
Grab your book. I'm going to be pushy again. Grab your book. Because if you don't understand all the pieces, Jillo, I think that there's something missing in your explanation just now. So Jill and Bobby went through a traumatic experience of birth and during the pandemic. Like, there's a whole lot of trauma that happened. But in the book, Bobby actually has a part of the book as well, because Linda Bonney actually interviewed Bobby so that he would be included in the book. So it's not just for moms, it also has pieces for dads from a dad's perspective. And the podcast is so powerful because it is for mamas, but it also has a dad's perspective in it. So I don't want to leave that out, Jill, and I'm going to be really pushy. If you're a mom, if you know a mom, if you have a mom, if you know a mom to be, listen, if you're breathing, go to get Jill's book. It is called Mama Outspoken as well, but I think it's really important, Jill, about the podcast that you share where that stuff is coming from.
Yeah. So we've recorded into a audiobook, and we'll be taking clips from it to use for each episode as the topic for it. So we'll get to play our recording. So my husband will be sharing his side of the stories that he puts in the book, and then we'll also do mine. Yeah.
That's fun. Can I just say that's awesome? That is amazing. I wish I had had your podcast available to me when I had young kids. And I know Donna says that a lot as well. Because being a mom to young kids and the changes that puts you through can really be shocking to your system and to your sense of who you are. And it was for me.
Yeah, extremely shocking.
Yes.
And can I just add as well, it's phenomenal how much your husband believes in you to sit on a podcast and open his heart and be vulnerable and stand by you. And it's extraordinary to watch your belief in each other, and the power that brings to a podcast is pretty special too.
I love the husband and wife podcast. I think that's very cute. I can't even get my husband to do Pilates with me. So whatever superpower you have, please let me know.
Took a lot of convincing. But I do want to say between Linda's interview with Bobby, my husband, she pulled out some things that I did not know that he went through. So that's what I'm looking forward to most, is allowing him to open up about what had gone on in his own mind, the changes that he went through, and how we really didn't talk about it. And now we get to talk about it for everybody to hear.
That the power that's in that is incredible, which actually brings to mind for me a question that that keeps coming back up for me, for you, Linda, which is, why storytelling? Why, what is your belief in the power of storytelling that affects everything that you do in your business?
You were just holding that one up your sleeve, were you?
I was. It kept bubbling up, Linda. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. Seriously, like it's been about 3 times now that the question has come up and it wasn't the right moment.
Okay. So storytelling to me is a deeper level of feeling for us in a world that's very quick to consume. So I do think, especially as entrepreneurs, there is a consumerist mindset and culture that's happening on the internet right now, and then also a creation one. And the difference between consuming and creating and then reading something like a story compared to 15 words on a social media post takes people to a deeper level, and it helps them to feel again in the numbed out world. And we have become quite desensitized to ourselves as humans, and humans do trust other human beings. I know Kim said those words earlier, that really us as humans, we have our beliefs, we have our brand, we have our reputation, and being human is part of what it's all about. It's very hard to trust an AI robot. It's very hard to trust a brand that is very, very polished. And I think more and more people need stories to relate to bubble up their own stories and memories, to feel human again.
There is something so powerful about the human voice, conversation, and stories. I have to say, I was just in an event, an online event, and she was talking about that power of the story, and that when you hear somebody tell their story and you can hear in their voice their connection to that, how powerful that is. And then it was reinforced. I immediately thought about this social audio platform called Clubhouse that connected all of us, and why I'm still there. It is not as popular as it blew up. It was all right. It had like 2020 and 2021. Boom. I mean, it was the place to be. And then a lot of people went away, and now people are asking, well, does it even exist? And here's the thing. I'm still there because of the conversation, because it is the only social media location that I can go to where it cuts through the polished, curated thing that people want to put out in the world about themselves. Because the minute they come in a room and there's a topic and they start talking, I can hear the connection in their voice to what they're saying, and there is no way to curate it. Unless they come in and they're tone deaf to the conversation and they come in to say their thing, to get their message in and leave, which also speaks volumes about who they are, right? And then it's so amazing. So I host this room every Wednesday, and sometimes I'm like, does it lead to anything evident? Like, I don't make sales off of it. There's no charge for it. It's not, but every week I leave feeling more energetic than I did when I went in, feeling connected in a way I didn't before I walked into that room. And because people come and they tell their stories and we exchange that. And I love what you do, Linda, for that reason.
And I think just listening to what you were saying, the connection piece is, in a lot of ways, the bridge between the consumption and the creation. If we're then connecting in the middle with something that is parallel to our lives, our memories, our stories, and also that relatable piece, it's really important that we get some of that rather than just becoming desensitized in a scroll of very flashy, quick social media attention grabs. Yeah.
I have to speak up. I'm trying to be quiet. It's just not working. For me to get to know you, it requires information. And I think information in a factual list, that can serve a purpose. But when you can hear someone tell their story, their information, in their voice, in their tone, in their flavor, in their details, it changes how I can connect with someone, because information is what you're exchanging, but you're doing it in a way that really does light somebody up, or it shows you're a solution for them, for what you're doing and what you're passionate about, or it shows them information in a vehicle. A story is like a vehicle. It serves it in a way that they can take the walls down, listen to the story, and go, man, Linda Bonney's an amazing human. Wow, Yvonne Marchese really gets the age thing. Look at Kat. Kat gets not only military stuff, but look at the health and wellness she's brought to everybody around her. Look at Jill, who can have a conversation without judgment for a mama. Like, how powerful is that when the information is served in that way versus, I'll tell you some facts. Fact is, Yvonne just did over 200 episodes on her podcast, which, let me just mention that. That's a fact. But when you hear the story of her not wanting to start the podcast and like wrestling with that, never wanting to be on video, and then going all the way to where she's doing reels and she's doing all kinds of videos. Her and Kat do Salty Sisters, and like, that's a different story. That's a different way that I'm going to connect versus just 200 episodes. Okay, that's information, but it's not powerful. And I look at Kat, she's on the bazillionth episode, I always say, but she's, I think 167 dropped this week. That's a lot of information about both of these two Salty sisters. And then you look at Linda and Jill, they're on 70 something. I never keep up with like all the numbers, y'all, sorry. But they're on 70 something of their podcast together where they're not editing it. It's raw and real conversation.
And can I add, they have to connect from opposite ends of the world, time-wise,
Yes.
to make those conversations happen.
Yes.
Linda Bonney, I don't know if it's come up tonight that Linda Bonney is dialing in from Tasmania. And Jill is in the New York City area. So that's epic right there.
Yes. Yes. And so that factually they're in different locations. But when you hear the story with the two of them and the connection they have and the littles running in and out and the things that are going on, it changes things for the moms listening. It changes. Shoot, my youngest is 34. I'm just going to say it still changes things for me. I listen every week. So I think that that's part of the thing, that when you're talking story, I think it still goes back to the branding and the beliefs and the reputation. You're creating a reputation in a podcast. You're creating something that literally can be branded. You're creating something from what you believe in. Because I will say this, you know, I'm anti-creepy marketer. That just fires me up, and I get my soapbox out whenever you hear somebody that's creepy marketing. Well, to me, creepy marketing is being fake. Like, we all have messy behind the scenes stuff that we share. And I giggle because I think messy's beautiful. I think messy shows progress. I think messy is amazing because you're doing something.
Oh my gosh, Kim, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is what was rolling in the back of my head as you're talking. I'm thinking about Kat's no perfection policy, which I wanted to ask her why that's so important to her. But it's what I love about this community is that messy is beautiful, and we let the messy show. We don't show up super glossy. I take photos of people for a living, and I see how hard people are. Sorry, I see how hard people are on themselves, and how when they get in front of a camera, and I get it. I don't like to be on the other end of that camera. And sometimes you need the glossy photos. You do. There are, I know people want to show up and they want to look like they have their shizzle together and they want to look professional. But sometimes you need to let that go and just show up without all the gloss, without the hard candy shell.
Messy doesn't disqualify you from being a bad A. I look at Kat and I think Kat's a bad A, like when she wakes up till she goes to bed and then while she's sleeping. Like that's just the bottom line. And I look at her and I think she doesn't mind telling you something silly, or she doesn't mind, does not take away one drop from the bad A that she is. And I think that's true of everybody here. Is if you're trying to hide something, and Jill, I think it was it you earlier that was saying how hard that is to keep that up. It's exhausting. It's exhausting to pretend. And so when you can let the messy and let your human hang out, and you find out everybody's attracted to that. That doesn't mean you're drawing people in with perfect. You're drawing people in with human. So I think this is a lovely conversation, ladies. I just have to say.
Well, Denise had said something the other day regarding our theme tonight, and she brought up, how we're passionate about the things that we do. And I want to just play her clip about how she tied it all together about this theme too.
When I think about the theme, which is beliefs, branding, and reputation, I think more about the things that we've been promising to do, the things we talk about, our passions, what we do. I don't necessarily think about what we're trying to build, the impact on our life, the life, family balance, all those other things that are important, super important, as a belief.
It's really it's what we're all saying right now. What are we promising to the others that are watching us? That's where our beliefs come out and they shine.
I will say this, that I think I believed before I started the podcast, I believed that in order to have a podcast, you had to be somebody who had some sort of cred, and when I came across the idea that you don't have to do that you can be a person on a journey and let other people watch you struggle on that journey, and that actually helps them. And that was the idea that made me go, oh, I can have a podcast about midlife reinvention. I don't have to be a psychologist. I don't have to be an expert of any kind about this. All I need to be an expert in is being me and letting people see that I'm thinking about things and I'm struggling. It's funny. I talk to you guys, I talk to my friends, and everybody's afraid to say things around me that have to do with age, because it's like you guys think I'm the age police, the ageism police. But I struggle with it still. I still have. It's not like my fears about aging have gone away. because I had an aha moment about it, I constantly have to choose how I'm going to think about myself as I get older in every day, in every moment. And that's the conversation I want to have with people is it's not that I have things all figured out. It's not that. It's not that I'm an expert. I have some things that are working for me that I'll share with you, and maybe they'll work for you too. But what I really want is for you to go figure out for yourself what works for you. You know?
There was your belief statement right there. What I heard you saying was, I believe I haven't got it all figured out. And I believe in you, the listener. I believe aging is fun and playful and beautiful and messy.
It
And
can be.
right there.
It
And
can be that it doesn't have to
Exactly.
be what we all think of it as, that it can be fun and playful if we're open to it, you know. But anyway, I feel like I kind of went afield there.
No.
I do
No,
have another spicy question when you guys are ready for it.
I want your spicy question, Yvonne, but I want to just make a quick comment too. I feel like this is one of those polarizing moments that I'm going to probably just like go ahead and go for it, because when someone posts a comment about something that we're saying, if you are not interested, roll on, because hurting people hurt people. And if you post a nasty comment, I'm sorry that you're having a bad day or something happened in your life that caused you to be hurting, but why bite somebody else? So we have a policy around here, not only the no perfection policy that Kat has, but we also have a no biting policy. So I am just going to say, if you're a troll or if you are having a rough day, please stop with the comments, because it's not necessary to hurt somebody else. It won't make you feel any better. So go with your spicy, Yvonne. I just had to say it out loud. You know who I am.
You know, this came up in one of the podcasting rooms one day, and somebody made a really good point about those comments. And the question was, what do you do with those, right? I love Brene Brown. She's just like, you never take anybody's comment to heart that isn't in the arena themselves. That's one thing to think about when you are sticking your neck out as an entrepreneur, is that you're playing the game, you're in there, and give yourself the pat on the back for having the guts to be in the arena, first of all. But somebody in the room was like, well, you know, those troll comments, leave them. Let other people take care of them. And all it does is drive more views and more comments and more interaction on your thing. So you know what? If you want to be a troll,
thanks.
You're probably helping me. If I can remember not to take your comments to heart, if I can remember that you are clearly having a bad day, that you are clearly having trouble seeing somebody do something, and that you are feeling triggered by it, so that you cannot stop yourself from moving on without making a trollish comment. Yeah. It's on me as an entrepreneur, content creator, to remember that that's a keyboard warrior who's forgotten that I'm a person, who's forgotten that there is actually a connection, that we're all people.
Mm-hmm. And troll or not, nasty comment or not, let me just say this. We love you and we hope things get better for you.
Absolutely.
Because we're going to go on and keep struggling and keep being messy and keep having conversations and keep being polarizing, doing all the things because we understand. We have an evidence file full of impact we are making, and we're not going to let that stop us from doing what we're supposed to do. So, love you. Hope you have a better night. And Yvonne, what is your spicy question?
My spicy question is, and this is something I struggle with. Do you believe that, like, when it comes to like your beliefs that are not about your business, but whether you may have beliefs around social justice, or for me, a lot of it's around sustainability, or some other cause. Do you take a stand on that? Is that part of your, do you allow that to be part of your brand? And it's tricky. Like, I would love to include more discussion on late bloomer living about how we can change our habits as older people to live more sustainably, you know? And I thought about doing special episodes every here and there and now again. And it's something I struggle with, you know? And then too, when you've got a hurricane that just happened in North Carolina, and you've got a hurricane happening in Florida, and I keep continuing to post roller skating videos, I feel tone deaf. Not to mention all the other things, crazy things happening in the world, right? And there are things that hurt my heart, right? I look at what's happening in the world, and things are hurting my heart. And I don't address them because I feel like I need to stay on target with my message. And I feel like to do that would take away from my effectiveness. And then sometimes I just am like, oh, is that cowardice or is that staying on target? How's that for spicy?
That's very spicy. Can I be the spicy one that answers?
Please.
So there's a lot of things that I believe that show up in my brand and show up in my reputation. That doesn't mean I have to take them and be polarizing in the wrong way, because it does not solve the issues with the hurricanes and all of the recovery they're going through. What if seeing your roller skating video causes them to have a quick chuckle or something to remove them from the devastation? Because it is devastating what's going on. What if you are that light that comes along, and because you're not falling for the lies we've been told about our age, you're not falling for that. You're helping everybody understand how like prejudice works with that, because that is what it is. It's a prejudice. What if you stopped? Like, I'm just going to flip it for a second. What if you stopped doing that? What if everybody stopped doing everything and started just thinking about all the problems in the world? There would be no solutions. There would be nothing to distract us from the hard things. That doesn't keep you from, as a human, sending money to buy water. It doesn't keep you from showing up and sandbagging if somebody's house is going to flood. It doesn't keep you from doing the things. But your brand and acknowledging something that maybe is a global fight, unless your brand is about that global fight, you don't really have a dog in that fight. Like, and I think, what are you impacting in reverse by not showing up with you and Kat giggling? I'm telling you, I can hear you in my head after watching the video. And I just, y'all make me happy. Y'all make me happy even when I'm having a bad day. Like, some rough things happened earlier today. I'll just be honest. couple of things happened today that were hard. I got some bad news today. But you two roller skating and giggling takes me over to the side of no matter what's going on, I still can laugh with y'all. I still can escape that feeling of doom or devastation or hurt or harm, like, because everybody's going through something. Everybody has things that they're going through. I'm just going to leave it at that. There's things everybody's going through.
Yeah. And sometimes those types of responses to situations, they can feel performative in and of themselves. Like, I am going to say something now because I am an influencer and it is my, do you know what I mean? And so I must say something. And then everybody, you just see all the posts go out and it's like, it feels very just performative and not.
We're trying too hard. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's a tough thing to juggle sometimes.
And sometimes I almost feel like for me, it's like, is that worth showing? Like, I know I'm doing it. I know the ones around me are seeing me do it because they're with me doing this. So whatever my support is going to, is it really worth me trying to show that off also? Half the time I don't have my phone out because I'm like, I'd rather be in the moment, but also like I need people to see what I'm doing at the same time. So this is weird catch-22. Like, what do we do?
Speaking from experience, it is hard to speak everything on our mind at once and build a good brand and reputation, because our beliefs are multiple and are many, and everybody's in the same boat. Don't get me wrong; like that's a common theme for many of us in the world. At the same time, if you're not having a destination to go to and taking every single off-ramp along the way, it can become very confusing both for you and for the people that you're speaking to as well.
So we are getting close to time, and I'm going to just put this out there. Y'all can laugh at me, but I'm going to put this out there. I believe in sexy. I believe collaboration is sexy. I believe clarity is sexy. I believe that when you are in a community and you have that support around you, that is sexy. I completely believe in sexy. I also believe that our brand represents the iconic sexy that's long-term relationships. My integrity is intact because I believe that and I live that every day. And that's not bragging. That's saying that this is what we do. Do I make it perfect? No. Am I perfect? No. Kat wouldn't let me be anyway. She said no perfection policy. But here's the thing. I still am striving for that every day. I still strive toward what I believe in, and I follow my heart in that. We do believe in making an impact, but we also believe in making an income as entrepreneurs. So I want to say all of that out loud, and I want to give you guys probably about 30 seconds because we're really close to the end to give your final thoughts. Talk about your brand or talk about what you believe, but 30 seconds of what are your final thoughts, the most important 30 seconds of the summit.
Okay, so we all have stories to share, and they build both all of our beliefs, branding, and reputation. And those stories help us to feel in a world that is often overpowering and overloaded. And whether you are just starting on your entrepreneur journey or thinking about it or down the path a little bit, we get it, we understand, and we can definitely show up as ourselves in this community. And as Kim very often says, messy is beautiful, and it applies to nearly all of the summits that we have been to along the way. Yeah. Yes.
I love what you said, Linda. And story is actually incredibly pivotal, seminal, I think is the word I'm looking for, to what I talk about as well, because I believe that our stories are very powerful. And the stories that we tell ourselves, about other people, they shape our feelings, which shapes our actions, which shapes our results. And so I think that there's so much power in looking at our stories, which is why I love that Jill talked about that experience of writing the book and getting clarity from writing the book. When you become aware of your story, number one, you can question it. Is your story, is that really what you believe? And then you can respond instead of reacting to something that is inside you that you believe that you haven't been acknowledging. I love this community because we are messy. And that we are mission-driven people. And I'm honored to be part of it. And I'll leave it there.
You just took what I was going to say, Yvonne.
Sorry, Kat.
That's okay. I think that when you are true to yourself, when you're true here, and you're true and you listen to your gut, it's almost like a guiding light. It's almost like this, come this way. And then you have a community that allows you to be messy, a community that allows you to ask the same question 47 times and not get mad, a community where you are allowed to learn and become this entrepreneur that you didn't think you could be in the beginning, because I certainly did not. And I think that's very special when you find that. And when speaking of messaging, I'm just going to say this really quick, is when Kim first asked me to be a part of Mastermind, it was like a hard no. But then I kept hearing her message. She kept saying the same thing over and over again. I thought, oh, I'll do a round. And now she has to kick me out. So
oh my goodness. I fully believe that my beliefs can continue to be unraveled as I continue on this adventure in business, and events like this help that happen, and finding out more about myself, more about how I want to connect with each of you and those listening.
I'm going to jump in really quick before we go to Kim, because this, I think, if I can just speak on behalf of the community and everyone watching, and publicly thank you for creating a home for us, because I feel like all of us have landed home and you have really encompassed such a beautiful, beautiful home for us, in all that you do and all that you lead by. And publicly, thank you from all of our hearts. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Can we all take a minute and give Kim some, we're going to make Kim really uncomfortable and give her some glitter. Let's give Kim some glitter.
Home glitter.
Oh my goodness, you all. Thank you for your sweet words. Let me say that. Thank you for your sweet words, because this community means more than I probably could ever express in words. So I love you all. I believe in you all, and I am so proud of you. If you're watching tonight, I want to remind you again, go connect with these amazing humans. They have all published a book or 12. They all have podcasts. They all have so many ways to connect with them. And I just want to point out they've all generously gifted something to you, the watcher. Go to mysexybusiness.com/little FES. Capital FES doesn't work. That's why I'm saying little FES. And seriously, connect with them. Whoever you resonated with, please go and take the time, because they will respond. It's not like some places you go and they're just untouchable, they're unapproachable, they're all of that. This community is full of mission-driven, impactful influencers who are changing the world. And we are the crazy ones who believe we can change the world. And guess what? We are. So connect, come join us. And I'm just going to leave that as my final thoughts, that I love y'all, believe in y'all. We'll see you in January for another Fierce Entrepreneur Summit. And until then, come to Good Morning Entrepreneurs. These ladies are all roving reporters as well. They are on location with many, I will just say, tips, examples, samples, all the things to help you with your entrepreneur journey. So thank you, ladies, and roll the credits, Jill. Just roll the credits. Love y'all.